Hey, what's up everyone, Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And if you follow the link in the description box below, it's gonna take you to the Western trailer for Omega Labyrinth Z. That's right, it is finally coming west. Looks like PQube Games has answered our prayers. Still kind of annoying that we haven't gotten the first Galgun yet, and now it looks like we're not gonna be getting the first Omega Labyrinth either. But overall, a very positive sign. Now, PQube Games, where have I heard that before? Some of you may remember them from a little bit of the controversy they caused when they brought over Valkyrie Drive. I even did a video on it way back in the day, and I still stand by what I said there. What they basically did was they announced that the game was going to be uncensored, and then they did the same thing that's done with Senran Kagura and they just removed the ages of the characters. I still say their mistake was simply that they didn't announce ahead of time that they were going to do it. I was already expecting it to begin with. Again, even Senran Kagura couldn't get away with it. And Valkyrie Drive is a little bit more lewd. I for one wouldn't mind if this became common practice in all video games. Simply do what the hentai games do and put a disclaimer at the beginning saying every single character appearing in this game is 18 or older. And if you think otherwise, you're the one with the messed up perverted mind. And if they start complaining that all those girls with B and C cup boobs are obviously little girls because they have such small boobs, please just send them pictures of old ladies with A cup boobs to make them shut up. That's really the best way to deal with these people. But that aside, given that one minor hiccup in the history of PQube Games, I've already had some comments of people being a bit skeptical of this release. I for one am not too worried, I'm about to explain why. As long as they announce ahead of time that they're gonna do things like remove the characters' ages, I don't got a problem with it, that's to be expected. And the last time they censored anything, it was just that. And Senran Kagura's been doing it for years, as I've said. The important thing to remember, and I'm quite sure PQube Games are smart enough to know, is that the fan base for this type of game won't tolerate censorship. If they feel like censoring something, the game won't sell, and they know it. When it comes to these niche, ecchi Japanese games, everyone should know by now that there is no such thing as a wider audience for this sort of thing. If you think it's a good idea to censor what your base wants, in an attempt to attract some non-existent wider audience, you will just be left with nobody. With games like this, appealing to the base is the only option these guys have, because that is the only audience games like this likely will ever have. Imagine for a second what would happen if some company tried to make family-friendly porn. That just doesn't make any sense, does it? The very nature of the product makes it not be family-friendly. If you try to make it so, not only will it be hilariously awkward, but nobody is going to be happy with it except for people who just want to see a hilarious train wreck. So basically, when bringing these ecchi games over, the only changes that the fan base is willing to forgive, and even then only by a slight margin, are those forced by the law, nothing else. Any attempts to appeal to moral authoritarian busybodies, to a wider audience, any sign that they might bend knee to the latest moral panic, and it's all over. As I just said, if you take away the one thing the base actually wants in this game, you're left with nothing. No audience, nothing at all. And if PQube Games doesn't recognize this, they're gonna fail spectacularly. But as I said from the very beginning, they are smart enough to know what the fan base for these types of games want. And if they were able to bring over something like Valkyrie Drive with the only modification being the removal of the characters' ages, I'm quite sure Omega Labyrinth won't have any problems. And if the ratings board do give them shit while trying to release on the PS4 and the Vita, then just do what you should have done from the start and release it on the PC and that problem is solved. So yeah, that's my one complaint about this release, to be honest. So far, it's just the PS4 and the Vita release that have been confirmed for spring of next year. PC release will probably show up later, as it has with all the previous games they've put out. And oh man, I cannot wait for the mods when that finally happens. But either way, to reiterate, I'm not really all that concerned here. PQube knows their audience, and they also know that their entire reputation is on the line. When you're dealing with this type of a niche fan base, if you censor something one time, they're gonna remember. And in the long run, it will come back to bite you in the ass. That's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.